leaving her shocked by his sudden leap in strength. While she is distracted, our hero places his blade against her neck. She is paralyzed with shock, unable to believe she lost to a rookie. With great pride, Childu announces that he is the overall winner of the fight. At the base sponsored by the Army for the Mercenaries, Childu is satisfied with what he sees. Sergeant Young whispers to Miss Lee, instructing her to address our protagonist as Chief Childu. She understands but questions why Young refers to him as Big Bro. Young shrugs it off, noting that the relationship is a bit complicated. Turning to Childu, she asks what he intends to do with the bandits beaten the day before. With a terrifying expression, he claims to have an idea that gives the bandits chills. Hours earlier at the headquarters training field, our boy demanded that Lee call him Big Brother. She retorted that she would rather die than say it, eventually forcing her to give up and call him Big Bro. Even then, our hero continues teasing her. From a distance, the general watches in shock because Childu easily took down the best swordmaster of Joseon. He worries that if his subordinates had witnessed it, their morale would have plummeted. However, the reaction of the soldiers is entirely different. They cheer for our protagonist, leading the general to question whose side they are on. The rest of the bandits are soon presented to the general. His assistant reports that these are all the men captured from the mountain. General did not expect Ho Chiel-jang to gather such a massive crew. Because there are so many, the prison lacks sufficient space to lock them up. The assistant notes they have already executed those who committed serious crimes, but the rest cannot be sent back to Earth due to the presence of biome superhumans in Nova. Unexpectedly, our protagonist suggests he take them in, as he needs mercenaries and believes they would be helpful. Childu claims some must have utility and decides to take only those he likes. Standing in front of them, he shouts to ask if they remember him and offers an opportunity. Standing in front of them, he shouts to ask if they remember him and offers an opportunity to face him. Those who survive will have the chance to live. With that, he calls for everyone to attack him at once. Childu cracks his knuckles while the bandits stand shocked by this violent path to survival. Relying on their numbers, they plan a coordinated assault even though they have already imagined their grim fate. Soon our protagonist exalts their courage, only 60 proof brave, while many cowards remain. He thanks his new workforce and raises his fist for a bump with the general, calling him by his personal name. The general is stunned by the casual address, a shock shared by Lee and the surrounding soldiers. Lee shows visible discomfort, but to her surprise, the general is actually moved to be treated with such familiarity. Returning to current events, our protagonist explains his plan to turn these bandits into a battle-ready tribe. Lee finds the idea odd, reminding him that they are criminals, and that turning them into mercenaries seems impossible. Jin-tae agrees that it is complicated, wondering if such men can ever be trustworthy. However, Childu reminds him that the 5 members of the Yanggu clan were also gangsters, asserting that trust builds naturally through battle. Jin-tae panics, wondering how he was supposed to know that history, but our hero reminds him that as the vice captain, he is capable of managing it. In front of the bandits at the camp, our boy shouts that their past crimes no longer matter. They are now his mercenaries, and he questions if anyone has a problem with that. The former bandits shout in unison that they have no objection. Captain Choi finds their sudden discipline incredible, but Lee comments that Childu, already powerful, has now gathered his own flowers, making him even more dangerous. She advises the captain to monitor him closely and report back. Childu is reported to the general as a threat to the government. The general finds the accusation outrageous, but the reporter clarifies that the claim comes from Colonel Morin, the same officer who sent Warrant Officer O to capture him. Holding the report, the general realizes she is merely resentful for failing to recruit him. The reporter suggests persuading the government to stay calm, and the general agrees, noting they cannot have the state hunting their mercenaries. He wonders how they will establish legitimacy for Childu's squad. Just as soldiers arrive to report on the man's recent actions, they hand over a scroll containing the details. The general worries if our protagonist is already causing trouble, but the report tells a different story. Childu forced the mercenaries to build a cabin in a single night. Afterward, he began training his squad relentlessly, fighting all 60 mercenaries by himself. He doubled the training for those who hesitated and severely punished anyone who attempted to escape. Through this intensity, the former bandits transformed into something entirely new. The night before the raid, the mercenaries are told to rest while Childu retrieves his axe from the forge. Most importantly, he uses a tribal chief emblem, which allows him to create a tribe within a territory. He presses the confirmation button on his system window and names his mercenary squad Ironhead. The tribe capacity is set at 200 members. Everyone congratulates him on finally turning the men into real warriors. What Childu intends to convert the squad into a full warrior tribe. The general is shocked that our hero obtained the emblem so quickly, knowing the item is usually exclusive to the ranker's shop. Captain Choi explains that he earned it as a reward for clearing a new hidden dungeon. Which also granted him a world map. The general calls it an incredible reward, noting that the chief emblem makes the group safe from government interference. His assistant adds that the emblem allows the mercenaries to be tracked. If any bandit tries to escape, their location appears on the captain's map. The general believes this is enough to persuade the government, and remains curious to see how the upcoming raid unfolds. At night, Childu decides to set up camp to spend the evening. Lee feels uneasy about facing the raiders again, and wonders if she is truly capable of defeating them. Soon our protagonist arrives and asks if she wants to eat, but she claims she has no appetite. He insists she eat well to maintain her energy for battle, leaving her shocked by his apparent concern. No one has ever cared for her in this way despite her status as the best swordmaster, and she feels a confusing new emotion. A moment seeing Childu reminds her of her mother. However, to her surprise, our protagonist remarks that it is a shame she won't eat and begins consuming her food himself. She realizes he only showed concern to steal her meal. Furious, she tells him to leave her food alone and eat his own. But he has already finished it. Suddenly, our boy stands up as he notices something in the distance. This prompts Lee to question what is happening. Our protagonist says he hears something and grabs his axe. Meanwhile, at the top of a nearby mountain, the raider group faces a pack of monsters. Their leader orders his men to eliminate them all, shouting that the beasts cannot match their speed. He yells for them to show the power of the horseback raiders. The leader is tuned by Kim, known as one of the Big Three. The battle unfolds at the foot of the mountain as raiders clash with green monsters. The leader scans the chaos searching for the boss, and once he identifies the target, he eliminates it with a swift strike of his spear. This act secures their victory, and he promptly orders his men to regroup. However, he did not foresee that Childu stands above them on the mountain. Our protagonist shouts the leader's name and confidently declares that he has come to eliminate these people. With a stylish landing, he drops in front of the group. The raider leader questions his identity, so our hero introduces himself and states his intent to kill the man and take his horses, as he greatly admires the beasts. The leader remarks that he has heard rumors about him. Specifically that he is the one who exterminated the bandits of Mount Oban. He asks the young man to listen, acknowledging that this mission was likely a military order, but he questions why someone as capable as Childu would be involved with such people. With a broad smile, our protagonist dismisses the comment as nonsense, insisting he is simply punishing thieves. He leaps toward his target with an axe, but the leader defends himself with a spear and remarks that they are not thieves, as they have never stolen from others. While preparing a counterattack, he insists that the horseback raiders are merely explorers. Holding on to the spear, our boy states that this claim is entirely different from the reports he received. He adds that he cannot believe the man based on words alone. On the other hand, Chunbi is surprised that Childu can hold the spear with such sheer brute strength, realizing his opponent is superior. He releases the weapon, thinking that the raiders will be in danger if this battle continues. Our hero places his axe against Chunbei's neck. The leader states that if he does not believe the truth, he may take his head, but warns that doing so would mean taking an innocent life. Childu finds himself in a dilemma. He wonders if he could really be killing an innocent person. He recalls that when he killed Zhang, he felt something was off as well, leading him to wonder if he should believe the man or not. He needs certainty that his actions are right. Just then, Lee arrives with the mercenaries. She shouts at our protagonist for coming alone and acting recklessly, though she comments that he at least managed to capture the traitor. Our boy tells her to wait because he wants to confirm the situation. He demands an explanation regarding the horseback raiders. Lee becomes slightly uneasy, but admits that if she is not mistaken, they are considered dangerous. She states that Chunbai is a traitor who was once a soldier like the others, but had frequent disagreements with Chief Park regarding the future of Neo Soul. Eventually, Kim left the army and formed an organization that opposed the military, making them the government's primary target for extermination. Our hero asks if this means they are dangerous, but not actually thieves. Explains they have a bad reputation, but nothing official has been recorded, nor has any damage been reported. However, Kim possesses insider knowledge about the military, which makes him a threat. Kim calls out to Lee, asserting they have never misused information or attacked Neo Soul, and he asks her not to turn a blind eye to the truth. Observing the exchange, Childu thinks it is unexpected that Kim remains extremely calm, even with his life hanging by a thread. Him then questions whether our protagonist has finished judging him, and if he will finally take his head. He adds that if his death proves his innocence, he only asks that his men be spared. Our hero is surprised that Kim would offer his life for his subordinates. Making a final decision, he declares that he will not kill him. Major Lee is shocked by this choice, but our protagonist explains that since they are not bandits, killing them would make him no different from Zhang. However, he refuses to return empty-handed, and demands to know where to find horses in exchange for their lives. Him chuckles, remarking that our boy truly knows how to get what he wants. He agrees and provides a crucial piece of information. He explains that Neo Soul horses cannot be tamed easily like those on land. The only way is to obtain a pet pouch, which allows one to keep the creatures of Nova. He shows the red-rooted pot's knee, the first ingredient needed to craft the item. When Childu asks where to find it, Kimris. He shows the red-rooted pot's knee, the first ingredient needed to craft the item. When children do ask where to find it, Kim responds that the task will not be easy. Soon, our protagonist reaches the lair of ogres and spots one walking ahead. He reflects that he has never faced an ogre this large before, but he becomes excited and charges the beast with his axe. He attacks, yet the ogre easily deflects the blow with its great strength. The creature swings its club, and the force is so immense that even after our hero dodges, the weapon smashes through trees. He recognizes the strength of the monster. Just as it lands a punch on his stomach, sending him flying back. Using his axe, he saves himself by embedding it into the ground. He then activates Ogre's skin. After experiencing that powerful blow, our boy acknowledges the strength of Kim's group, who managed to defeat such creatures alone. The ogre starts swinging its club again, but Childu easily evades each attack. At that moment, our hero focuses on his axe, which begins to emit an overwhelming aura. He strikes the club with his glowing weapon, and is pleased that the result is even better than he imagined. A day earlier, the blacksmith had used his guardian's staff to upgrade the axe, and our protagonist had wondered if the weapon gained any special abilities. The blacksmith, guardian staff to upgrade the axe, and our protagonist had wondered if the weapon gained any special abilities. The blacksmith informed him that it was now imbued with magic, explaining why his attacks had become so much more powerful. Now name the axe imbued with guardian's power. The weapon has turned red due to the magic. With this tool, both attacking and defending have become easier. When he uses weapon magic, he can interrupt an opponent's movement by harnessing the rotational force generated by parrying, applies even more power, and successfully eliminates the ogre, proving that even an ogre skin stands no chance against it. After its death, the ogre drops an orb. Childu grabs it. The system identifies it as an ability orb of the ogre. It allows the user to perform one of the creature's special skills. Excited, our protagonist crushes the orb and requires the ogre's strength ability, allowing him to exert the power of a giant that transcends species with the aid of magic. Jinte stands inside Mimic's cave, surrounded by countless treasures and chests. The cavern also contains the raw materials required to craft a mascot pouch. The group members ask their sub-captain if they should open all the treasures present, but he explains that they must be careful. Out of every 10 chests, 9 are actually mimics. They do not take his explanation seriously, which leaves Gentai feeling somewhat frustrated. He thinks to himself that someone braver should have come in his place. He recalls a conversation with Childu, where our protagonist decided to hunt the ogre alone and split their forces. Jinte had asked if Lee would enter the cave, but she refused directly. He added that there is no reason for the army to help them while their mission is on pause, deciding instead to return and deliver a report to the general. Listening to this memory, Jinte feels a bit scared at the thought of being there alone. However, our boy reminded him that he is the sub-captain and would be fine. He'll encourage him, noting that if he guides the team well, the cave will be a piece of cake. This encouragement gave Jinte the confidence to take on this important task. Back in the present, Jinte commands his soldiers with great fighting spirit. He has devised a plan where the vanguard identifies the real treasure chests while the archers destroy the fakes. With that, he yells at his soldiers to begin their search. By evening, Kim orders them to set up camp and wait for their mercenaries. Later, Kim observes the site from above with a campaign. Orders them to set up camp and wait for their mercenaries. Later, Kim observes the site from above with a companion. Companion asks if he is okay after so easily giving away information about the horses, noting that if the military discovers how they are tamed, they will be in danger. Tim comments that they will simply have to find another way to become stronger. He believes the horses are not something they can monopoly forever, as others will eventually figure it out. The companion also notes that even if others learn the method, the materials are not easy to obtain, especially those from the ogre. Kim asks if his companion truly believes that, but he has a feeling that our hero will find no difficulty at all. After nightfall, Childu arrives at the camp along with Jinte. Kim approaches and asks if he has gathered everything. Our protagonist replies that it would have taken a long time otherwise, so they split up to reduce the duration, but they then display the items. Gentai has collected a considerable amount.